we've a lot of our players have been with the club since they were at step five and through step four most of their careers. So then our momentum started us, and then I always knew we were probably gonna dip, but when it's come, it's like, oh God, because we've been like fine margins in the last few games. It's just been like that Spalding game, 95th and 97th, whatever it was. It just shows the difference really in mentality more than anything.
Yeah.
Not like the big Rushton though. They're winning every week, aren't they?
I don't know about that. No, we've got no, we're just inconsistent at the minute. We've had a tough run of games, so we like win one, draw one, lose one, and then we've got on paper a run of like 8 games against the bottom half teams. But football don't work like that, does it? Where you're just going to reel off wins. If anything, it's probably more difficult, and that's what I'm going to have to be drilling into my lads that because against the bottom sides we've actually struggled more.
Same.
And that's a mentality thing, I think, where you think you're going to rock up and win, and then you get turned over, or you draw games that you should be winning. And that's the thing. Well, I think we're all at the point now. You're similar to us, where February's a big month because otherwise you've got nothing to play for. If your
Yeah.
results don't go well, then you're not going up, you're not going down, and then
It's the worst feeling ever, isn't it? Have a
yeah,
dead robber for 2 months. No,
yeah,
I couldn't
exactly
do
that.
that.
I know one of the clubs that I do talk to on a Sunday night, that he's only played 2 games in 6 weeks.
Oh God, the weather. Yeah, I bet yours is lovely at Rushton now, isn't it?
Well, ours has actually been all right. So last year ours was horrendous.
Oh my God.
They to say to well they just got volunteers to do the pitch and that and didn't have any a company doing it. So it was just terrible to be fair. And then we felt the effects of that in pre-season. I think Setch come on the radio on his chat and sort of said it's like a cabbage patch. He absolutely hammered us, said it was a disgrace. But to be fair now, like compared to a lot of the pictures I've seen, it's in decent nick. So they've actually done really well with it this year.
That's good. That is good. Well, for context, they cancelled a game on us at 2:15. We were just about to kick off, and then the ref blows whistle, said we can't do this.
At Rushden, I take it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Last season, though, he was. Well, you he was there. Was you not there? Who was there? No, it was the other guy, the Michael
yeah, Harriman. Yeah, yeah.
Harryman. Yeah, 2:15. They called it off.
Wow. Cheers.
I know. Yeah,
Was it horrendous? Was it just a mud bath?
it was what it was. Really, it was no worse than like you play on at Anstey or
Yeah.
the ones that get it bad. It was just like they chucked sand on areas, and it was bad when you was over it, but health and safety and all that stuff come in, which 10 years ago when we were knocking about and that old Corby pitch and things like that, it was like you just as long as you didn't get a broken leg, you just hope that you get through the
Yeah.
game all right.
Yeah. I remember playing on like rock hard frozen pitches where you just have to whack your molds on,
Yeah.
just playing through it, and you just get through the game. Where now it seems they call it off for pretty much anything. It's
Yeah.
health and safety's gone so much the other way.
So well, ours is Astro, and we had one off because it was the Astro was frozen.
Yeah.
I was
That's
like, oh, just walk on it, and it just breaks it down. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's it. Once you've had a warm up, surely it will be gone.
refs weren't having it at all.
Yeah.
Right, let's get this going. Well, welcome to the Reposs Non-League Show, and really pleased to say we're here for the next 12 hour or so tonight, and really pleased to say that later on Liam will come and join us tonight as well. And of course, normally we go down the road to Merthyr Town as well. Unfortunately, there's been a few issues in Merthyr, especially for Craig. He's had some really shocking news tonight, so unfortunately he's not going to be able to join us tonight. So we'll return to Merthyr hopefully next week. But joining me for the first time, I should say, as well, he's Elliot from Rushden and Diamonds. Welcome, Elliot.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
And of course, Ryan from Quorn as well.
Oh yeah,
I suppose one of the first questions I always ask people, guys, when we're on the show, I mean, anything you've actually physically seen in the week that, non-league wise, that has sort of taken your eye?
John Joe O'Toole signing for a club. Obviously, they've got a massive budget and signing for the League One players.
Mm.
Yeah, I wish. To be fair with John Joe, it's just quite. in football, Bez, sometimes it's who you know. And I happened to get to know JJ when I can't remember who he left, but he was looking for a club and he come training for Corby when I was at Corby. Um, so sort of kept in touch since. And Gary Mulligan, who's a good friend of mine, became really good pals with him. And he just messaged me saying JJ's just looking to get back involved. He doesn't want to do the travelling and just wants to play local. So he come training with us for about a month to 6 weeks, and then got to sort of New Year and he was like, "Yeah, you know what? I just want to give it a go." And we've had to sign three Northampton youth lads to accommodate it because I'm in a position where I think if the 11 is really strong, and then you've got younger lads who are hungry and want to come on and do well. That's sort of the mix we've got at the minute. So we're still managing a tight budget. Trust me, I've been at Spalding. I know what our budget's like. But yeah, it's a great signing for the club. Obviously, he's a bit of a local legend as well in the Northamptonshire area. So it also gives the club that little bit of a buzz, the fans and that hopefully coming through the gate. And yeah, it's certainly nice to have him for as long as we do have him.
Mm. Then I see the Noel Ranger as well signing for Chatham Town this week as well.
Is that where he's ended up now?
Yeah, he's down at Chatham now. Yeah, he signed I think during the week as well.
He's done his stint in Northamptonshire clubs and then gone back down south, has he?
Yeah, looks like it. I saw that as well. Little Horsham as well, drawn Southend United in the FA Trophy as well.
Mm. Yeah, I know. There's a couple of small clubs still in there, isn't there, with a
Mm.
chance of a big money day and stuff?
Is it ever been any distance in that competition?
No, never.
Not, no, not for me. I've always hated the trophy because it just seems so pointless. Because the clubs I was at, you're probably never going to win it. Like Southern Prem Conference North, you're lucky to go any distance in that because the Prem teams are normally so good. Obviously, Brackley had that year where they managed to win it. Um, but yeah, for me as a player, nothing of note in that competition.
Of course, I
Bonuses
think
weren't good enough. It was 10% of 2 grand split between 20 people. It was like a fiver each to win it, so it's pointless.
Yeah, yeah. You play a bonuses, you're like, no,
Yeah.
we'll scrap that one.
Rather a league game.
I'll say I've said it a few times on here. I think team that's always been quite close to me, quite close to my heart a little bit was Romford Football Club, and managed to be lucky enough to be asked to be press officer for their FA Vase final a couple of years ago. And I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to non-league day or whatever else, but the actual way they treated these, these sort of step five, step six clubs, step five that were in the final on that day, were just sensational. I mean, it was literally like they were like, Arsenal versus Man City or Barcelona versus Real Madrid in the Champions League final. It was incredible. All of their badge and their logo all on the floor in the, actually walked into the dressing room, it's all printed on the floor and we like up like a printed sticker or whatever else, but all over the floor, and even the manager's room that when I did an interview with the manager there, he turned around and said, well, the room he said for the manager's room is bigger than what my dressing room is at our own ground. It was absolutely massive. Do you know what I mean? Massive, great big L-shaped sofa, great big sort of like 100-inch screen on the wall, fridges and all that sort of stuff, and cupboards all around the room. It was just a ridiculous day. Absolutely
It's
ridiculous day.
unreal though. Like everyone's dream as a kid is to play at Wembley. I've never done it, obviously, but for the to be able to do it must be some feat. Walk out there, even if there's 200 there, you're still playing at Wembley in a meaningful game, aren't you?
I think the biggest thing for me was the week after I'd got like the bit round the neck. They told me where I could go and all the rest of it, and giving me all the access to all the areas. And it was when I was watching the following week, I think it was Man United, Man City, or whatever it was in the FA Cup final, and Alex Ferguson standing there on the front, on the side of the pitch with exactly the same accreditation to what I had the week before. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. But you're stood behind a barrier at some step six club freezing your nuts off.
Yeah, it was
Not
crazy.
calm down, isn't it?
Crazy day, but it was worth it because they won the game as well, so it was quite nice as well. So that was
Oh, nice.
so it was good.
Yeah.
Just the trip home on the tube that took nearly 4 hours on the tube on the way home because it shut down all the stations that I needed to get to. So it was great. But I mean, I think one of the biggest stories around the local area for me, non-league wise at the minute, is still the issue around Harlow Town Football Club. They're down now in step five now, and of course they were put into administration about 3 weeks ago, so they're still waiting now to find out who's going to sort of come in and take the club over. From rumours that have been flying around, there's some some very, very big hitters that are wanting to go in there and take the club over. So I think all eyes should be on that sort of streams and everything else over the next few weeks, because just to see who does finally come in and take over the club. But there's supposed to be some big money men that are looking to
There's
step
a
in.
lot of it now, though, isn't there, where millionaires are ploughing their dough into lower league just to try to. I don't know if they make a lot of money quick or not,
Yeah,
but it's like the people at Real Bedford. They're
yeah,
the Bitcoin geezers or something, and they all Facebook created Facebook and
yeah.
like,
You've also got the guy's gone in at Morton and Tiptree as well.
oh yeah, oh he's a nutcase, isn't he?
I mean, that's just incredible what they're doing in that ground. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, they've turned that around, St. Chronic. But it's they got players like Michaeli Bond going to him, who's playing for Leighton Orient and Charlton a few a couple of years ago.
Uh,
Just mental. But I think Liam's joined us. Here he is. Looks fresh from his training. He
Look at
looks.
him.
Freezing, I know that.
Never stop, do you?
No, no, no. I wonder where I get that nickname from, Bez.
I know, mate. I'm not, no idea, mate. I've
No,
absolutely
no,
no
no.
idea.
How are you both? All right?
Yeah, good, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, all good, all
Good,
good.
good. Have you introduced yourself, Dave?
I have indeed. I have
No,
indeed.
he's not. We've just been talking to some stranger.
Oh, Bez, I've only just walked in, mate. Come on, give us a
Sorry, yeah.
Oh,
So
God.
I mean, the one question, if you should with you, let's start with Ryan first. I mean, we were talking when we had Spalding on the other week, and they just played Quorn, and I said it's probably one of the most unusual names for a football club.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the club, because people who don't know, you're in the Southern League now.
Yes, we are in the Southern Midlands or Central. I don't know what it's called actually, but yeah, there is. It's. I live about a mile from the ground, so it's like my local-ish club from where I live now, and yeah, I think they've been going loads of years, loads, and just never really done anything. Chairman ploughed a load of money in 20 odd years ago to make it a nice-ish pitch and ground and whatnot for the area, but they, yeah, never really did much. They've always just bitted and bobbed around step five and a couple of stints at step four and back to step five, and then last year we had an unbelievable year, got promoted, and then this year we're doing all right at step three, which is the highest the club's ever been. But we're tiny, we're a little village. Like I said, you spoke to the Spalding guy, they've got a chief exec and that, and we can't even spell chief exec at our club, let alone. So it's yeah, we compete with some big boys, but it's good fun and like yeah, you probably spoke about our game with him the other week. It was yeah, a mad one. But the fine margins at this level are really fine, and you get what you pay for at the end of the day, I think, and their quality ended up being a bit too much for us.
He scored though.
That's the main thing.
Screamer of a penalty.
Yeah, screamer-ish, yeah. Wait for the keeper to go down and then kick it the other way as slow as possible was probably more accurate.
Yeah, I did see it. They sent the
I
footage
did.
in, so I did see it. Yeah. But I mean, you said it's not been the greatest a couple of weeks, but still only sort of like a point outside that playoff zone. But I mean, you look above you and you think, oh my days, the teams that are listed above you, you're playing in there with all the big boys, really. Hal's Owen, Redditch, Real Bedford, Harborough.
Mm.
Harborough are a point behind Spalding, and they've got 3 games in hand. So it's there's some real big boys in there.
Yeah, well, up until about 10 days ago, we were third, and at the start of the season, you could probably take out Real Bedford, Harborough, and Spalding and say them three are going to be in a league of their own to see who gets the number one spot and gets automatic promotion, and then the other two will be two and three, and then the league starts from there, from fourth down. And we was obviously Real Bedford had 4 games down than us, but we were still above them, so the point counted. But we were top of the league, really, essentially in the normal league in terms of normal teams, and we're punching well above our weight. Everyone knows in our league the money and stuff that some clubs have got and the lack of money that others have got, and we're down the bottom what we pay, but what we've got out the lads and the group we've got have really just taken it by storm, really, and not batted an eyelid to who they're playing or 2 players. So we played Spalding, and 2 of their lads cost more than my whole budget. So it's a tough one for the lads to get their heads around. Like they're competing with people that are so much more you would think quality, but money especially. And yeah, we've got on with that really without too much hassle and complaints. It would be nice to have the wallets of some of them and be the manager in the shoes when they've had the big bucks AL. But we can't have that at a minute.
I mean, it's just a weird league, really. That's just because of the weather wise and stuff. I know we were just talking off air a little bit about it, but Bedford only played 24. You played 28.
Mm.
Redditch played 29. Harbour played 26. Spalding had played 29. So once everybody sort of levels up, it could end up being a little bit different. Uh,
Yeah, well, I think if it all it's so tight from I think fourth down. I think Bedford will just kick on and get close to the top, but from fourth down, there's probably 8 or 9 points separating 12 teams. So it's just when you lose two in the bounce, you slip 5 places, and you win two in the bounce, you go up 5 places. So it's very tight, and it's hard for us at the minute to keep the consistency going of what we did have at the start of the season because sorry, baby's going absolutely ballistic here.
that's right.
Because it's such a long slog of a season, and you get to now. And I said to the lads at the end of October, I said, just these next 3 months, November, December, January, just being and around it. We were speaking a minute ago, and you want something to play for back end of the season. You don't want to have the dead rubbers for 3 months. So we have got something to play for at the end of Jan, which is what I asked for. It's not quite where we were or could be, but we're still in the mix, and hopefully we can get back on the train and win a few.
We
So,
got
so my 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 question, Bez, and it's been something that happened to me when I got my first job, when I got the Bedworth job all them years ago. And you go from playing 1 week to then being the gaffer.
Mm.
And my question is, how are you finding doing the both? Because the thing I had to stop because I just felt I couldn't really do it. And maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing, I don't know. But how are you finding being able to sort of, wearing several different hats?
It's tough, yeah. It's so hard. You can't really. I know you've both done it, ain't you, really, player managers, and it's you can't really relate to many people who've done it, and nobody can relate to you and how hard it is. Like 5 o'clock, I get in the bar for a pint and I'm just drained, like mentally, physically, everything's just done out of me. People still want to chat, lads. I've dropped out the squad, lads. I've not bought on, want to pull me and ask me why, and I'm just like, fucking no, like, and I can't do it at the minute. My brain just can't function right now. It's so hard, but I love playing. I still think like a player, and it was quite easy for me, like, as you know, because I'm so honest with
Yeah.
how I speak to people, even the kids when we was at Nottingham, probably too honest to be fair, and but I speak to them the same, really.
I use that story every single season, Bez. You got anything to say? I can't repeat it on air, Dave, but I'll just say, Bez, you got anything to add? This is a National League under-19s game, Elliot. This is, and we were absolutely awful first half, and Bez
Worse
and
than awful.
Bez and Chambo were helping me, and I said, "Oh, Bez, you got anything to add?" And I can't. It was just he went, yeah, it's, and then two expletives. And it was like, and I'll never ever forget it. And do you know what? Sometimes you can try and reinvent the wheel at half time, can't you?
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't need to be sometimes structured with what you say when things aren't going well. And I think those two words pretty much said everything that I could have said I'd had previously said in 10 minutes. But oh yeah, that was an experience. But yeah, I mean, it's great for me. It's great for me to see because I I look at you and the way the game is at the moment and Elliot and you are totally different builds in terms of your physical profile. And I look at you've always had that. I think that, I mean, I'll be fair to say that you weren't the quickest player in the world or aren't the quickest player, haven't been the quickest player or sharpest, but there's a lot to be said for intellect. And I think with your age, I think that's probably helping you now, isn't it? The experiences you've gained and being able to still play and just probably just be cleverer than anybody else on the pitch.
Yeah, and it does, yeah, obviously it helps, and with our budget restrictions, we have got a really young squad that I think there's only 2 of us or 3 of us that have played step three before this year. So I've had to rely on myself more than I wanted, just because when I watch it, I'm like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Why, like, you're under the cosh a bit, just wang it in the corner. What are you still trying to play this nice football stuff? Like, we want to play football as in pass the but you want to win at the end of the day. You don't want to
Yeah.
look good and lose every week. It's pointless. So there's times where I was tearing my hair out thinking like, why are you thinking like, why are you doing that? Why has your brain told you to do that? And the hardest part is the expectations of what I think people should do. But that's where I think it's no, probably more often than not, it's a blessing that I'm on the pitch. Because on the side, you're shouting to a right back that's 50 yards away. They ain't going to hear you. And
No.
they'll just go, yeah. But when I'm on the pitch, I'm 10, 20 yards away, I'm like going mad. Or you can change stuff there and then in the click of a finger. And when I'm on the side, it's a lot harder to manage the people around me,
Yeah.
like on the pitch, the players around me. Whereas when I'm in the middle, especially being a centre midfielder, it's like, right, you just squeeze up 5 yards, or you go out there for a little bit, or you just run after him, and next time he touches it, you just put your elbow straight through his face. Them little things that you can't shout from the side,
Yeah. Yeah.
I find it easier to manage when I'm on the pitch, but then I have to be at a standard myself. Like I've not been great. I've not played great probably the last 3 games. No, played the right sport, but 3 games I've not played well. So I'm coming in at half time, fuming at myself, fuming at us as a group. But I can't say too much personally in a performance aspect because they look at me and go, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
tried 15 diags and given 15 away. What are you talking about? Or you've lost your battles, you've lost your runners, you've lost your duels. So the respect I get from the lads, first of all, was has to be from my performance because everybody knows that if someone's having a stinker and tries to tell someone who's doing all right what they expect of them, they're going to shut up, mate, you're having a nightmare. So I have to play well to get anything back from the lads. And luckily, most of the time I've done all right. I've had to really uncomplicate my game now, so I don't run though. That centre circle's got my footprints around it at corner. Now it's Astro, it's been gone down. So yeah, it's been hard, but it's I love it at the same time. I think I was always going to be involved in football after playing, and just because of how forefrontal I was with my opinions. So now
Mm.
it's all my opinion is everything.
Yeah.
I do like it. I think I'm a bit of a control freak, which I never knew I was until doing this. I'm a control freak now.
But don't you think though when you'll see it now when you're both of you when you're managing players now that I mean I've been fortunate enough to work with both of you at Leamington and Nuneaton, and there's always for me being sort of the elder statesman, I always can look at players and think, would they make a good coach or would they make a good manager? And you two would definitely have been on that list of people that obviously would be able to carry on in the game and really make an impact in the game with the younger players. And I think there's certain players that you've played with, Elliot, and Bez has played and I've played with, where you go, absolutely no chance, zero chance. When he's 34, you will never see him ever again. He won't even want to be involved in football. He won't want to have anything to do with football. Whereas certain players you can look at or teammates and go, yeah, I can see that. Do you agree?
Yeah, loads. But there's not many now.
No.
I've shared change room with loads where I thought they went in and tried, but there's not many now look in change rooms and go, right, you're the beat, stay in it, you'll be all right. But then on the flip, there's a couple, I'm not going to name names, but
No.
they're in football. And I'm like, have you stayed in football? You was just
Yeah.
bloody brute. Like what's happened here? So it's not always the case that you have to have an amazing football brain or whatever. Some people get by just personality wise and get the best out of people that way. So yeah, but this day and age, I don't think I think the game's a different sport now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Absolutely.
there's not many young lads who I work with who their attitudes are just completely
Yeah.
different to the attitudes we had back in the day, where even in terms of just playing through any knock or any injury, I'll be playing at 60% for half the games. There's always something wrong going into a game. You're never fully fit. And you got lads who don't fancy it, not up, it's just you got to mollycoddle a lot of lads, and not in a bad way sometimes, but there's so much more. Putting obviously you're working with youth and that now, Liam, so you see it all the time. But putting an
Time.
arm around lads all the time, it's a completely different way to get the best out of people. Where back in my day, you'd have your experienced lads stringing you up against the wall, sort of
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
to
yeah,
sort
yeah.
yourself out, put your ideas up. If you did that nowadays,
And now that's a
you'd be out of
safeguard.
a job and they wouldn't play for you again, sort of thing.
It's funny, but it's funny. We have this conversation with Langers the other day, and we're saying that do you really play without a niggle from the age of 19, 20 onwards? I don't think you've always, if you ever went to a game on a Saturday and you'd be like, God, my legs I feel great. Okay, you feel physically great, but you've always got that little, oh, I'm a little bit tweaky on the top of my calf or I'm tight in my hammy or something. But you play and you get through it. But I think the mentality of the young players changed nowadays. I think they're just sort of it's this cotton wool era, isn't it? That the first sign of a little niggle, they'll go and get advice from him and advice from him, and oh, I've been told I've got to do this, and I've been told I've got to do this, and I need to give it a few. That shouldn't. You should want to play every single game. Why would you want to be even contemplate missing a game on a Saturday? Mind you, I tell you what, if they're on a contract, probably. If they're non-contract, oh, oh yeah,
That's
they'll
what
be
I
fit.
found at Spalding. I'm never dishing contracts out again because just
No way.
that second year, so after we'd won it, that second year, put a few lads on contracts and I saw a completely different side of players in the game. Like I said, back in my day, you'd be on contract, but you want to play every single game. You want to give your best. You always want to push on. Lads don't even want to play the level anymore. They'd rather
Oh yeah.
play lower and take massive dough rather than just try and push yourself as far as you can. That's something I just don't understand in the modern game how lads don't want to try and play at the highest level. Like when you're 36, 37, 38, and someone's offering you a load of dough to play, yeah, fair enough. But if you're a young lad aspiring to be a footballer, then yeah, it just baffles me nowadays.
Is that more to do with, do you think that's more to do with the money that's in the game now, though? That people are just, maybe that more players these days have got more passion for the money rather than playing higher?
Yeah, definitely. It's at all levels. Probably in step five and step six back in the day, you probably didn't have as many teams who had money being thrown about. Whereas now, yeah, I think the levels have sort of been watered down as well. Like when I was at Leamington with you, Biz, like the lads we had playing at that level was crazy. And then with no disrespect to some of the lads who are playing there now, but you look and go, I never thought they'd get there, or and it could be just that thing where you get a bit older and you always think your era was so great. Do you know what I mean? And it maybe it's not because football changes, but I just feel there's so much money about now, the levels, and there's so many different leagues. There's just yeah, there's lads playing lower than they should be. There's lads who are somehow playing at level. It's yeah, it's a bit, and I can't talk too much on money because, like I said, I was part of Spalding who had a good budget a couple of years ago and are continuing to do that. But how I see money is you've got to have that plan to actually go and push on. Otherwise, you're just wasting it. Like step five, step six. Some people you just got lads playing football manager in real life.
Well,
True.
we all know, Ryan. Well, when you come into the league this year, I mean, what was the expectation? Was the expectation, as a newly promoted side to try and stay in the league? Was it a case of no, look, we can push forward and maybe get into sort of playoff wise, or
I didn't want to get the lowest points tally ever. I didn't want to be a stat forever at step three. I honestly thought we'd struggle. I've not been at step three, so I missed it for 2 years. Dropped to step four, and I didn't think it was a great standard, but I thought the difference between step three and step four was humongous. And I thought our budget went up 200 quid from step four, step three, which is nothing in the grand scheme of things. And I'm there in the summer going, we are absolutely up against it here. If we ain't relegated by Christmas, I'll be happy. And then we started playing the games, and I was like, this is like Els just touched on that. I think the standard is massively watered down. I don't think there was much difference at all between there's a difference between step three and four, but it's not huge where you can't compete. Like we compete in every game. We've got done five at Stourbridge every week, but we competed in every other game. And on paper at the start of the season, we had no chance really. We were written off by everyone in terms of where we were going to finish, etc. And yeah, I had no expectations. The club had no expectations, and it was just do our best and see what happens. And we started and done well, and then the sort of fear factor went of you're playing these boys, but yeah, they're on loads of dough, but there ain't that much difference between 11 men and 11 men. 11 men that want to run around and try their arse off will always have a real good chance of winning a game against 11 lads who are picking up a huge money and don't want to get injured, etc. So we worked a way around it where we get the most out of our lads. We have value for money wise. It's scary what the lads are on. Like we're going to lose a load in the summer. We've had 7 days left, right, and centre for our boys, and the money they're getting offered is triple what they're getting here. But where we are has saved me really, because if we was down the bottom or even probably five or six places lower in the league, they'd probably go, you know what, there's nothing to play for here. I'll go and earn a ton of money somewhere else. But where we are, they can see that there's something to fight for till the end of the season, and that's kept them really. But the summer's going to be interesting trying to replace what we've got because, like I said, value for money out of my squad, it's unbelievable what they've given, and the injuries and their availability has been just next to fucking unbelievable. I think some of them played 100% of the games in the last 18 months, which is, I think four lads have been available for every single game since the start of last season to now. So fair play to them for looking after themselves properly, and like probably the opposite of what we were just saying a minute ago about the money in the game and the lads not wanting to play. I've had a couple of good ones that have just gone, no, you know what, I'm wrapping my ankle up at work. I'm bloody sitting down all day and with my foot in an ice bucket instead of being on site, but I want to play on a Saturday. So I've had a few of them, which has helped me massively, really. But we are where we are in the league, and if we stay there, it's amazing. If we don't stay there and don't get another point to the end of the season, but avoid relegation, I still think it's an unbelievable achievement for the lads with what we're up against.
Mm. I mean, tell us a little bit about the makeup of the club. I mean, what is it? Just first team, or I mean, you've got youth,
Yeah, they've got
ladies.
loads of junior teams, and we've got a 23s team now, and they're trying to make it a proper club. They're about 15 years behind in terms of actually making money. I say that I reference Jimmy Ginnelly quite a lot. If Jimmy Ginnelly was in charge of Corn Football Club, it would turn over probably £1 million a year because he knows how to make money. He's unbelievable at making money, sponsorships, and
Mm.
there'd be some dodgy ska band on in the bar after the game with the worst music in the world. And it's the last thing you want to listen to, but there's 100 people in there spending money behind the bar, whereas
Yeah.
we gets to 5:45 and the bar staff go, right, that's it, we're closing and last orders. And we're like, there's 150 people, like fans and players and that still here. They're like, no, we're closing. And you're like, it's frustrating because that money can come back into the budget, but nobody really is a business orientated person at the ground or at the club, and they're trying to get there. They're trying to do the right things, and they've set up junior teams, etc., etc. But yeah, they've probably a bit behind on the rest of the clubs at this level in terms of where they're at.
Well, I mean, it's getting there though. I mean, it sounds like. I mean, did you say you got ladies teams and that as well, or
No, I think
under
they're going for the
23s?
ladies teams because you get good grants for that, don't you? I think so. Let's prick their ears up for that. Um, but no, yeah, 23s, kids teams all the way down. There's three teams for a couple of age groups as well, like under 12s, 13s, 14s. I think there's about 12 teams for them age groups. So they are getting there. It's just that next bit with what the club want to do because we can't sustain, like I said, with what we've got out the players, the lads that are going to go, we're going to have to try and replace them for the same money, and we won't get the same outputs on the pitch. So to stay at this level on the budget is going to be even harder next year than it is this year. Just because we're gonna have to have a complete rebuild, I think. But that's up to the club, really. I can't.
Is there a frustration as being a manager in the Southern League that you don't have like a sort of reserve league, you don't have a league cup, so you can't sort of start, giving sort of bedding in some of your under 23s, under 18s, or whatever else into it, and in that way, because I know there's a lot of them have said, especially around where I am, sort of in the Essex sort of Hertfordshire sort of area, the likes of the Ware manager always as a moan saying, look, if we could have, why can't we just have sort of like an under 23s league where if it's a trident leagues, why then can't we? Where you've got, say, especially this area, you've got some in the Southern League, you've got some in the Isthmian League. Why is it if it's not like a trident league that you can't have teams from the Isthmian League and teams from the Southern League in one league for the under 23s or an under 18s? So he gets very frustrated to the fact that he can't really blood anybody unless he's in a county cup.
Yeah, yeah. Well, to be fair, I've got asked to train at the same on a Tuesday, the same night we train. Our 23 is coming with us now. So then even if during training I go, I need four of you, so then four will come and train and we try and get them in that way. But I watched a couple of their games. They do play 23s against 23s. There's a few under 23s teams in Nottingham area, which we're close to, and they're in a little league for that. But honestly, it was like watching an under eights game. It was, awful. So the standard is just gone, and I think these lads that are at R23s, it sounds disrespectful, but they're at Corn under 23s for a reason. There's so many other programs about where they could, like the one Biz does at rugby, they get good players through, but our ones ain't good enough for that. So it's
I
yeah,
think I mean, I've got an opinion on that, and I think it's for me. I'm not sure the 23s is worth its salt anyway. I just think that
I've always been against it.
wasting your time, because I think that especially the boys we've got here, like, so we've probably had four make their debut in the first team this year that are 16, 19 in the senior cup. Now, if we had a 23s, I believe that if these boys are 18 or 19 when they leave here, why would they want to go and play 23s? If they're good enough, they'll be playing step five anyway.
Yeah,
So why would you go and it's one of them. I think it's for lads that I just I don't see it. I don't agree with it. And I also think that in the pro game where you're just going to play against under 23s, you're playing against 18, 19, 20 year olds again. These lads at 18, 19 need to go and get Richard Batchelor to break the nose in a game at Highgate or something. You know what I mean? That's what they need. They need to go and learn the game in senior football, but as quickly as they possibly can. Else it's just going to pass them by, and they'll never, while they're still playing in the age group and the age ranges of football, I just believe that they're selling, well, they're either selling themselves short, or they really deep down there, they're not good enough anyway to play men's. I should go straight into it.
Mm.
yeah,
Is
100%.
that's what I'm saying to our academy. We've got a few decent lads, and they want to be around the first team, but they're just not ready yet. Like they train with us and they do all right, but they're not ready, and they're out at your Silbies and your Bugbrooks and stuff at step five. Because I found it as well. Leaving Northampton as a young lad, I went to Cookno originally because I just wanted to play football,
Yeah.
but I come on so much from my youth team days, leaving at 18 to then playing men's football straight away. A year later, got the move to Brackley and then just had a decent sort of non-league career for those levels. But if I hadn't have done that, or I'd have gone and sat on a bench somewhere at a higher level, not playing or playing 22, I don't think it'd have ever happened. And so many of my mates from Northampton that just dropped out of the game completely because they weren't really playing, didn't enjoy it, and that was it. Where you go and you're playing men's football, if you it's where you progress, I think, because like you said, you've got to use your body better. Again, if you're 18 and I was tall but I was slim, and you've got big old boys knocking you about. Actually, Jimmy Dean said about the days when I played against him. I think he was at Yaxley at the time, and he was in midfield, and he's a tough tackling, horrible bastard sort of thing, and I was a nice player back then. But that's where you learn again. You learn to use your body. You learn to avoid those tackles and nip by people. And yeah, that's what even reserve football back then. It's all just like a friendly pace, isn't it? And you just keep the ball. It's all
You have it, we have it. You have it, we have it. Nice carpets, and also I'll tell you what the other thing that they learn when they go into men's football is you can't get that dressing room experience unless you're in a dressing room, especially at a young age. You need to go and put yourself in that environment and see, and that's the sink or swim moment, isn't it? When you know we've all been at league clubs and we left school, and the moment you train with the first team or you're invited into the first team dressing room. That's the moment where you're going to get mentally tested straight away. And I think that while they still play at 19s, 21s, 23s, whatever it is, they're still in the same mindset. And they don't understand, like, you imagine when the young lads come into like a non-league dressing room nowadays, their eyes are just going, what's going on here?
Mm.
It's amazing, but I think that's something again that's missing in the game. They're not going to get. I think young lads nowadays they're not going to get the experiences we had and the stories to tell. And I think it's all disappearing out of the game, to be honest.
yeah. That might
I
be a
mean,
good thing over some of the stories that
Yeah.
well, you were saying before we come on to Rashton, you just sort of talking about experienced people that that put you in the stand or whatever else in that sort of thing, and I still remember, a guy called Danny Brown, and he used to play at Cambridge, and he was playing down at Waltham, sorry, at Harlow, and there was two sort of instances with him. I know one year Harlow decided not to sort of pay any money or next to no money whatsoever because they were saving up to get the 3G surface and so forth. And I remember taking my father-in-law to see the Derby game at Boxing Day against Ware. And at that time, Ware and Harlow were fighting it out to see who was going to get relegated, basically between the two of them from the Isthmian North. And it was absolutely pissing it down with rain. I mean, it was ridiculous. The pitch was, before they had their 3G, it was grass and there was puddles everywhere. And the ref came over, it was slide tackling, all the rest of it. And Harlow were losing, I think it was 2-0, 2-1, whatever the score might have been. And the referee just calls the two captains in, one being Danny Brown, and says, "Look, guys, you've got to stay on your feet, otherwise we're going to have to abandon the game." He said, "Because it's getting really dodgy now, it's getting a bit dangerous, all the rest of it." And then all of a sudden, the next minute, it's a 50-50 ball. Danny Brown, who's, I don't know if you know Danny Brown, but Danny Brown, he's manager down at Romford at the minute. He was at Billericay and a few other places as well. But he's one of these guys you wouldn't want to see in a light alley, let alone a dark alley. And he's just literally just come from nowhere and just gone like an arrow straight across the pitch and taken out this ball and taken out the player. And the referee just got, "No, sorry, game off," and called it all off. Went back there about 2 or 3 weeks later, beat them in the sort of rearranged game, and ended up staying up, I think, by a point or 2 points. And it was that game that actually kept us up. But he had a game against Waltham Abbey where one of the players was actually played for Harlow, and he's knocked this ball forward, and he was a centre half, Danny, and he's knocked the ball forward, the winger. And Danny's come out and he's gone round, tried to go round Danny, and the ball's gone out of play. And Danny's just whispered to him, because I was standing right by the touchline. He's going, "Do that again, son, and I'll have your legs," like this to him. And you could see the fright in this in this kid's eyes. Next, about 5 minutes later, the same situation's happened again. Ball's gone through, 50-50. A lot quicker, the winger easily get to the ball and go round him, and he's just put the brakes on straight away. And Danny just looked over to me and winked and just cleared the ball up the pitch. But it was just sensational just to sit and listen to see this sort of, like, the knowledge of this bloke, knowing full well that no one's going to want to go anywhere near him. Just by a little whisper in the kid's ear. It was just brilliant stuff. But tell us a little bit about Rushden and Diamonds, because we had one of the previous managers on as well last year, and of course everybody sort of remembers Rushden and Diamonds as having the mahogany entrance and the big staircase and all that sort of stuff before that sort of ground went west. So tell us a little bit about Rushden and Diamonds in the present day.
Yeah, I think as a club they're in a really good place now. After obviously leaving Spalding, I took a little break from managing, started playing again, and I got the call from Rushden. And with all due respect to them, locally, I'm a Northampton lad, so they're local to me. It was sort of a place you don't really want to touch as a manager. No money and a bit of trouble. The team hadn't been doing well on the pitch for a few years. They got relegated, and I think Loughborough Dynamo went bust. So they managed to stay up. But having a chat with Rob Usher and Alex Raspin, they've took over it now, and they're just seeming a lot better place on the pitch. And there's a lot of good people there, a lot of volunteers who, because there's a fan-owned club, a lot of volunteers there who put so much effort and work into it. And then sort of the reason I took it was learning my trade as a manager. I've been there at Spalding with immense pressure, big money, big name players that you've got to control and manage, and contracts. And Dan Sweeney get injured early on. He's on a contract and he's trying to manage that situation. And Sweeney's is a great bloke, but he's not the easiest to manage. And then I've gone from that side of things, then thinking, well, then going to Rushden with not much of a budget. I think there was 4 players in the door when I came in. So having to build a team from scratch. And then I sort of said all along that the team we had in August, September wasn't going to be the same team we'd have in December, because I knew that we'd gradually keep improving. Lads have become available. And I think it's, for me, this season is a case of just making sure people know that actually Rushden, the pitch, Bez said about it before, the pitch isn't horrendous like it was last year. The pitch is actually all right now. The club's moving in the right direction. They're trying to do things the right way. Me and my assistant Jim, we know a few lads, like we've got Bruno Andrade over with us, lads who want to come and play for us. And I think that's a big thing, especially managing. And I think, Bez, you're the same, where you've got lads running through brick walls for you because they've sort of come to play for you and they're staying to play for you. That's a massive thing, really. And even my Spalding days, I signed lads that I've played with before, and I knew what their character was, like Tony Breeden, like born winner, Glenn Walker, been there, done it, winner. These are the type of lads you want in your dressing room, and that's what I've tried to do at Rushden. And look, this season we want to finish sort of top half. we're not far off the playoffs. It's a bit of a tight league. We're 5 points off the playoffs, but 10 points off relegation.
Yeah,
So
I've just literally just seen that. Just that's crazy. That just shows you how
yeah,
difficult that is.
we've had a decent run of results, and we just don't seem to move from 12th. But everyone can beat anybody. Um, and I think I said before we went on air, we've had a quite a tough run, but the next 9 games we play eight of the bottom half of the table. So it's I've been in football long enough. It's not as easy as that, but you'd rather be playing the bottom half than the top half, that's for sure.
Mm.
But they're all going to be fighting for their lives now. And like Bez said, we spoke just off air about having something to play for towards the end of the season. And for me and the lads, it's just February's a big month because we've got games on paper that are winnable. Um, and if you can manage to just win a few of them, put some half decent points on the board, then it makes March and April really tasty because you've got something to play for still. I was quite lucky as a player that I've been in six playoff finals, won five leagues. I've been quite successful and used to playing for stuff towards the end of the season where the thought of going into March and April just turning up where it don't really matter what the result is because it's all well and good me saying, oh, this matters, we want to finish as high as possible, but I've been there myself deep down as a player. It's you want to be fighting for things. You want to be trying to get promotion. You want to even be stopping other teams from getting there by turning out and beating them and putting yourself in a better position. So that's the aim for us. We're probably the least likely, or if everyone looked at it, the least likely to get in the playoffs. But I've got a young, hungry group who want to prove people wrong, and I just hope we've done better against some of the better sides, and our more recent games against the bottom ones, we've like drawn two and lost one away. So I think mentality wise, they need to. Well, I'll be firing into them this week that we need to prepare right. We've got a really tough game at home to St Neots, who they only lose. They've lost three in a row, but only by the odd goal. Got another good young manager there, Chris Nunn's there, who's an experienced bloke, ex-Rushden manager as well. So they're going
That's
to
the
want to
jet.
be.
That's Chris. That's who was on the show from Rushden. Yeah, I was trying to think of his name when I was saying it to you, but I couldn't remember who it was. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So good bloke, good people, and like I said, in this league, everyone's beating everyone. Even Bedworth Biz were right down the bottom, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden they're right in the mix now. Bolmere, there seems to be quite decent money, and I think that's why the league's quite level because everyone's got similar to well, not everyone, but there's similar types of budgets around there. There's no gimmies in this league this year, that's for sure. Obviously, Corby have had a few issues, and it just made me laugh that Corby's budget was cut, but it's to like the budget we've got, and it's like, well, yeah, we you still can compete. It's just hard work, and obviously,
Cut to just under 3 grand or something.
yeah, yeah,
Cut
yeah,
to 280 or
exactly.
something. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, and I was speaking to Drake at Shep Shed, and he was saying the same. Like, we're dealing with this budget week in, week out. And I know that all the players have gone, so to build from scratch is tough. And obviously, Metz has gone in there and he's steadied the ship a little bit, and he's managed to get a few lads in. But this stage of the season, I think Cov Sphinx have changed their gaffer, and they've had a big turnaround as well. So it's getting to that stage of the season now where teams are either putting a bit of dough in to stay up. Some are pulling it back because they think they're safe. And then you've got others who are paying that little bit more to try and be the ones who get in that playoffs.
Mm. I was just looking at some of your games that you played previously. I mean, why was the Coventry Spinks game abandoned in 15? Or is that say I shouldn't ask? Oh.
I want to
No,
hear this
no,
story as well, actually, the truth of it. Was it that bad?
no. Well, it's not what it shouldn't happen at football. Put it that way. We had a female referee and a fan who turned out to be one of our fans called her a derogatory name, and yeah, she was like upset from it. She came to have a word with the managers to try and get this person removed, which we did. But at half time, she felt that she couldn't carry on with what had happened. She didn't feel she'd be able to manage the game properly. So it was just one of them where I think in this day and age, back in the day, you used to take all sorts of abuse. And now, especially for women in football, it's something that you don't want
Mm.
want to happen. So we just fully backed her then. Obviously, for me as a manager, it happens to you when you're winning rather than losing. But that day was like things were a bit bigger than football sort of thing. So it's one you just had to take on the chin. Obviously, we got to play them twice now because yeah, the game just has to be replayed. So we play them twice in February.
And I didn't know that, so apologies. I did heard the
That's all
score, but I
right.
didn't know what the two the games are. I mean, you say that there was a, we've said it on numerous occasions on the show, and there's a young lady now that's refereeing up, and I think it is far up as Championship and League One, League Two, and that sort of area now, called Abigail Byrne, who's been doing a lot for the WSL games, and we saw her. I actually went down to Brighton-in-Sea, and Brighton-in-Sea on the day were playing Romford. We were just down that area, went to see the game, didn't know she was refereeing, and she had these sort of fully grown men in the palm of her hand the whole game. Do you know what I mean? It was one of the best refereeing performances I think I've ever seen, and that's, man or female. She was absolutely sensational on the day, and I remember her coming off, and she went round and on that day Brighton City won the league and so forth. So there was a lot of celebration there. But all of a sudden she came back out of the dressing room at the end, and she was standing by the thing watching the trophy lift and stuff. And a gentleman came towards her, and straight away it was really sad to see in a way, because it was a gentleman came towards her, and she sort of took a few steps back, as if to say, "Hang on a minute, you know, I'm going to get absolutely screamed at here," or whatever else. And he just turned around to her and went. He said, "I just needed to come and speak to you." He said, "It's probably one of the best refereeing performances I've ever seen." And say on that day, and I know she gets a bit of stick in the WSL and stuff like that, but she was fantastic. But you say it's a bit of a shame that her first sort of thing was we'll take a couple of steps back, because you don't know what's actually going to happen.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the thing is, refereeing's so hard anyway. The standard, I don't know about your league, Bez, but it's some horrendous decisions. I try not to talk about it too much, and I know everyone feels they're against them no matter what.
Yeah.
It's always your side that's against. But yeah, we've had a few absolute shockers but yeah, again, someone's got to ref the game. Do you know what I mean? Someone's got to do it, and I appreciate it is such a tough job.
I mean,
I,
there was one last night. Sorry, Lee. I don't know if you saw it in that the Arsenal Corinthians game last night, in the World Championship final, whatever they call it, and it got, I think it was 2-1 to Arsenal, 92 minutes out of 94, and all of a sudden, Arsenal woman has fantastic clearance, great tackle, cleared the ball, and as she's cleared the ball, she's got the ball first, cleared the ball, just tapped this bird on the ankle, and she's jumped on the floor as if she's been shot and rolling around. And the referee says, "Don't know," talking on there to VAR and all that sort of stuff. And then she goes over to the screen and comes back and gives a penalty. And you're sitting there thinking, "My God, how the hell have you watched that and given a penalty for that?" It was unbelievable. Arsenal went on to win it, but it was one of those things. It was just unreal.
I
think that
found
they
out a
missed.
new
Sorry,
rule
Bez.
on.
Go on, Bez.
Sorry, I got a new rule on Saturday. So one of our lads has had a shot. It's it their player on the head is about 7 yards out. It bounced down to another lad. Their keeper's dived for the shot. Is on the floor. Our other lad's about to tap it into an open net. Ref's blown for a head injury. So we're like obviously fuming because he's about to score. So we all go over. He's like, got a head injury, got to stop it. Blah blah blah. So like, the ball's come to us, so you assume you're going to get the ball dropped. So I was like, just drop it to my left foot here, and I'm going to welly this. And he's like, no, it goes back to their keeper because it's in the box. I went,
Oh,
what? He said, any head injuries, it goes back to their keeper. And I was like, we've got an open goal to score. And it was just like the weirdest thing. Even all their players like, I never knew that rule. And the ref was
yeah.
not sorry for the ref. We didn't like abuse him or nothing, but he was like, I'm so sorry, it's the rules and I can't help it. But it was carnage, and we was just like, how is that fair?
I
But
think that's it. There's so many little different rules like that nowadays, isn't there? Where you're not aware of, and they change it every year, and it's just yeah, you find something out every year, every season.
I think for me the thing about the officials now is, and you'll probably see it more than I do at the minute. I think it's just they've just lost humanity. I just think they're just like it's almost like a secret service, and you can't even okay you try not now to swear from the touchline 'cause you know you're going to get a yellow, but you can't even offer an opinion now.
Mm.
It's get back in your box or two standing that you have a go at Elijah and two standing, but you haven't
Mm.
bothered the whole game, and I just think the banter part of the game has gone between the referees. The amount of games you played over the years, and you'd always enjoy, well, not enjoy a referee, but you knew that you could sort of the buttons to press with a certain ref, and then the ones that give you a game back, give you a go back. Going, I'll go, come on, ref, any chance? They go, yeah, my performance is as good as your first touch, mate.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
Little
We've had a
things.
couple, to be fair. It is better.
Yeah.
Our league is better than yours, El, to be fair. We've had a not by much, I'll admit, but there's a couple where you go, yeah, you're all right. Like, you're actually an all right person.
Yeah,
Everyone's
person.
going to make mistakes, and we absolutely accept that, especially when the game's quite quick. But it's the inconsistency that gets me. Like the little fouls here and there are terrible. But I miss. I don't know if they still do it in the conference where the captain and the managers from either side used to go in the ref's room before the game and have just a
Mhm.
quick chat with them and have a bit of banter with them, and then because now it just seems like from the first whistle they're on edge. They're waiting to get hammered. I think
Yeah.
they're nervous. I honestly do think refs are nervous to.
I think they go in with that us and them mentality from the off.
Yeah, definitely,
And
100%, 100%. It's like them three are the or four, whatever it is, are they're a team. We're a team, and the other team are, and it's like three teams, and you're like, just you're reffing. You're here to facilitate this game. Just be normal for a start. But I think we missed that having that quick chat. I didn't used to think used to be a bit of a pain, but you try and get on the ref side early and make a joke in the ref's room and see what he's about, and then you've got a bit of camaraderie. So when you go on the pitch, you can actually have a bit with them and talk to them like humans. Whereas now they don't talk. They
Mm.
won't talk to you
Yeah.
about anything, even if you go, oh,
It-
that was crap, or that was good. And like you said, yeah, about as good as your touch. So none of that anymore. We've had two that have been like, I've said, come on, mate, if you're having a stink, he's like, yeah, so are you. How are you still on the pitch? You should take yourself off, son. And I'm like, brilliant,
I'm a
cheers.
gaffer, mate.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll go now then. 5 minutes late.
Well,
Once you
are you guys surprised this season? And I must admit, I thought it was going to be an absolute nightmare at the beginning of the season with this goalkeeping rule and 6 seconds or whatever it is. Because I've not, even in some of the games I've been to see most of the Waltham Abbey home games this season, and I've only heard probably one, maybe two referees, counting out loud, or making any type of instruction that they're actually counting. And I've not seen it being such a massive issue that I thought it probably would be at the beginning of the season, where there would be corners going off all over the shop.
we've had a corner against us once. We even in game though they'll do it for a couple, but they've got so much going on,
Mm,
and they're not going to remember every time to once they get back to the halfway line and start counting. I think that they just forget, which
mm.
is understandable. There's so much other stuff they're looking at or thinking about or communicating with their linesmen or getting pelters from people that are surrounding them that they can't always do that bang on where they can't fight. But then we had one and he was like as soon as the keeper got it, it was like 5, 4, 3, and then one. The next ref, it's like wait 6, 7 seconds, then it starts going 5, 4, and you're like, well, surely everyone's going to count start at the same and count the same time, like. But yeah, even that's inconsistent, and I understand sometimes when they don't remember it
Yeah.
because it's a weird one for them to pick up as well. But if they all started when because there was one was adamant we started it when the keeper got it, the other was adamant that you had to clear the box and wait 3 seconds and then start counting from five. And it's like, what is the actual rule?
Yeah.
I don't know. So
I mean, when you see those referees start doing that, it just reminds me of the old days. You guys probably might be too young to remember it, but you just get back to the old days of watching the old British wrestling when the referee used to count to 10 and he used to sit there with his arm in the air, just have one, two, three, literally all the time when they're outside the ring. So it does look strange, but yeah, I'd say it's a lot less carnage than what I expected it to probably be. But I mean, Elliot, tell us a little bit then about the club in general from Rushden and Diamonds.
What's that? Sorry.
Just talk to us a little bit about the club in general, a bit like Ryan did. I mean, tell us a little bit about what youth sides. You've got youth sides, you've got ladies teams, reserves, etc., etc. Tell us a little bit more about the
Yeah,
club.
yeah, got loads of youth teams, and so the community side of things, amazing. Like I'm obviously a Northampton lad, so I see all lots of young lads, young girls, all wearing the Diamonds badges and things, which is great. The only thing that obviously lets us down is we don't have our own home as such. Obviously, Corn have the like the Astro and things. I presume a lot of the kids and that can use the pitch and stuff. Whereas we have Malcolm Arnold that we train at. All the academy teams train there, but you can't make as much money when you don't own it. The same as sharing with Rushden and Hyam. There's certain things that we don't actually earn money from. So that's why a lot of our sort of budget and where the money comes from is all these sponsors, where Alex does an amazing job getting all these different sponsors in. Because like you said, Rushden Diamond still is a big club. Rushden's a big town. It was well supported, so people still want to sort of put their name out there and support the club. Um, so I think that's the next steps. We've had a couple of venues where we've tried to find a ground. I think they've got one that are a bit more hopeful to get now, but again, that could be sort of 2 years down the line. So it's a case of just managing everything. They're fan owned, so they're not trying to make profit. As long as they've got a pound in the bank from the end of the season, they're happy. The budget is based on we have a set budget throughout the season based on a certain amount of fans coming through the gate and the sponsorship we have. Um, which, like I said, nowadays the club is in a lot more stable position to what it probably was the last few years. So yeah, lots of kids, lots of women's team. It's just a case of now can we find and get our own ground to really sort of push the club on again.
Mm. And Liam, I mean yourself, I mean you must have played Russian Diamonds a few times.
Oh yeah, played a few times at the old one at Nen Park. Yeah, it was great. But yeah, they're a club that, like Elliot just said, they're still a big club. Yeah, it's still a big club because it's the name. It's Rusden Diamonds, isn't it? Everybody just remembers them as it's the League One club, weren't they? I think what 15 years ago was it? 20 years ago, something in in League One, and it's there's so much history there as well. It's such a shame what happened, but I've been fortunate enough to my lad had I think a season and a bit at Rushden a couple of years ago, and just you can just see the amount of work that goes on behind that scenes at that club, considering they don't own that ground. There's still people. I mean, I think at the top end is it the Peter the Bank stand at the top
Yeah.
end, is it? And they've got the little Dale Roberts cafe, and and the ladies in there have been following diamonds for 40 years, and it's brilliant, and there's so much history to all that club. I hope they do. I hope they go back to their their better days, and I think that once they get the new ground, and that's when it will start to really kick on. I think just like you're still there, Al.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's the plan. I'll do my best, mate. But I'm like, so Spalding was a bit of a trek for me, where like Bez was saying, where he's local to Corn. We train in Northampton, so it's 5, 10 minutes from my house, and Rushden's 15, 20 minutes as well. So everything ticks a lot of boxes for me. I've got a young family myself, so it's local and just I want to try and, like you said, it's that challenge to try and get the club back to sort of where it was. Obviously, I'm not going to take the club to League One, League Two, but just at least hopefully back into step three and just being a because the fans will come out and they're a well supported club. If you're getting sort of we're getting around 400 average now over a season. But some of those bigger games like your Corbies and stuff, you're getting 700, 800. So if you're then in step three and you've got a half decent side, then you're probably going to pull 600, 700 every week. So that's the aim. Obviously, sort of when I went in, it was more of a 3 year plan to try and hopefully, obviously, have a new ground on the horizon and try and build a team. This year's all about building to give it a bit more of a go next year, and we'll see where we end up. And then by the third year, hopefully in a position to really push for promotion. But obviously, a lot needs to keep happening in terms of sponsorship and stuff, and getting the because like Bez has said, how they're overachieving with their budget. Unfortunately, nowadays the teams with the biggest budgets, more often than not, are the teams towards the top end of the league. So we're probably not going to have that, but that's where we need to build a club where lads want to come and play for me, want to come and play for Jim, my assistant, but also when I first come in, I've got lads wanting to play step five rather than play for Russian and Diamonds because of the history, like what's happened in the last few years, where I need to build that culture where actually they're getting 400, 500 fans. They're actually a decent team. The club's stable and in a good position and only going back up. And then you can start recruiting better because lads want to play in front of a big crowd. So that's the hope. It might not work like that. There's nothing to say that I'm going to go there and get us to where we want to be, but I'll certainly work hard enough to try and get us there. Bez will know, you'll know, Biz, from your time managing, it's 24/7 every day trying to make things better. And Bez, fair play to you playing as well because you touched it. I was in a position when I was playing that I had a row with Gary Mulligan in the changing room because we were both playing. I've dug him out. He was like me and him were joint assistant managers. I'm digging him out saying he hasn't won a header all day, and then he's digging me out saying I haven't held it up front, and we're squaring up. and like we're management. And from then it was like, I need to take us. If I ever did it again, which I did, I stepped back from playing. Still name myself on the bench and roll myself out every now and again. But I
Is
did
that for the
find
appearance money, yeah, as well?
what's that?
Is that just for the appearance money though?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. When I'm short of you, Bob, I just get
So
myself on
on
the
the
bench and
bench.
throw myself on late on. But when you were saying, Bez, about playing, and sometimes you being on that pitch, you'll still lead by example. So even if you're having a bad game, I come on the other day and like, the lads were saying that all of a sudden everyone's game seemed to pick up because it was like, shit, the gaffer's on. We need to make sure we're at it. We need to make sure we stop this goal or go and get another one. And it gives everyone that lift as well. And when I've had to say a few harsh words at half time and that because of how I was as a player, leaving everything out there, I let them know that if I need to, I'll be naming myself, and I'll. The one thing I will do is put myself about and give absolutely everything, and that sort of shows them that, yeah, to be fair, that's all the gaffer wants, and I'm sure Bez is the same. Work rate, commitment, desire. That should be a given every game. You're not always going to play your best. You might give the ball away, but your teams, you just want to give absolutely everything. So that's what I'm trying to instill into the lads. We've got a young group as well. I think everyone's sort of 25 and below, other than like three or four really experienced lads. Obviously JJ and stuff, and Bruno Andrade's a bit older, so it's just managing that balance. But I've got lads mainly played step five, some step four, and they're trying to push up the ladder. So it's quite good because they want to listen and they want to learn, and that's half the battle.
No, absolutely. Well, listen, lads, time's run away from us. I'm ashamed to say because it's been fantastic listening to your stories and having a chat with you tonight. But a massive thank you for joining me tonight, and say thanks to Elliot, Ryan, and of course Liam again as well tonight. And wish you all the very, very best for the weekend. And hopefully you guys get yourselves in these playoffs and get yourselves up to the next level.
Thank you very much. Hopefully.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, cheers,
Right, for
guys.
everybody else, massive thanks for watching tonight. And of course, as you may have seen today, we are in new places, YouTube and TikTok from now on in. And we'll be live on there again from Monday next week with the Reposs Non-League show. But until then, from me, from Liam and the boys, good night.